Today I'm going to show you how to replace a keyboard on a 3110 series Chromebook. Most of the Chromebooks that you're going to be working on in the district, you're going to replace the keyboards the same way. The one thing that I do want to mention is that the 3110 clamshells and the 3110 2-in-1s have a different type of keyboard. They're replaced the exact same way, but they're slightly different, so you want to make sure that if you're replacing a keyboard on a 3110, if possible, replace it with a compatible or a like keyboard with that particular series of Chromebook. Any of the Chromebook keyboards will work, however. So let's go ahead and go over to the Chromebook camera, and I have already pre-loosened each one of these screws along the back. So what you're going to want to do after you have pre-loosened each one of these screws, and I use a PH0 screwdriver head. All of our Chromebooks will use the same exact screwdriver head. So once you get it on there, you can just leave it there if you want. That's what I do, just put it back into my toolkit with that one on there. You want to gently pry off the back of this Chromebook, and there are a couple of different ways to change a keyboard, or if you're parting out a keyboard. The way that I like to do it, I think is the easiest and the safest way, is to take your screwdriver head, and right here along here's the battery, here's the ribbon. There are two little black little switches. You're going to want to pull those down, and that's going to release the ribbon from its holder. Okay, and then you're going to want to take your screwdriver and you're going to want to stick it in here. Now I'm going to have to pick this up, and so you may not be able to see it on the screen, but once I pick it up and I flip the lid open to expose the keyboard on the bottom, I take this and I press it through, and what it does is it releases that keyboard. It pops it out. Okay, and so then I can catch it with my finger or a pry tool, and then when I flip it over, and again you may not be able to see this very easily, but then I can pry this keyboard out with a pry tool. And I try to be gentle with these, especially if I'm parting out a computer and I want to keep the keyboards so that I don't damage it. I can take this one and recycle it, and then I can take this new keyboard, and here's the little ribbon that attaches to the other side of the motherboard. I find that the best way to do this is to flip this up on its side, and again you're not going to be able to see this very easy, and I slot that ribbon through. So now I've slotted the ribbon through, and then there are a couple little tongue and grooves that can slide into place that help align the keyboard into a good place. Well, once I've done that, then I just set it down and I take a soft cloth. You can use your fingers if you'd like to. I kind of like to not just jam my fingers into all these keys, and just pop that into place. You'll get them all popped in there. You'll be able to tell when they're nice, and everything will click in there. And then you're going to want to flip the Chromebook over again. And again, the first thing you're going to want to do is take this little ribbon, and you're going to slide it back into the slot that you released it from before. And sometimes you got to make sure these little black little holders are back far enough that the ribbon slides all the way in there. Usually there's a little line across the ribbon, and that has to slide in and line up. If it's not lined up, sometimes the keyboard, some of the keys will work and some of them won't, so you need to make sure that that's nice and lined up properly. At this point, I would flip the keyboard, or flip the Chromebook over, and I'd open it up and I would power it on to see if the keyboard worked. This particular Chromebook has some other issues that I need to take a look at, so we're not going to be able to do that today. But I'd power it up, type on the keyboard, make sure all the keys work, and then I would flip it back over. I would place the back onto the Chromebook, and I would snap everything into place, making sure that it was secured all the way around. Then I would take my screwdriver and just everything in reverse, go back and tighten up each one of these screws. And that's all there is to it. That's all there is to replacing a keyboard in a 3110 series Chromebook. So take a look at some of our other training videos, and you are going to be an expert tech in no time.